We're not sure where they were going, and afterwards several young airmen mysteriously died. Is there anything similar in that incident to this all those years ago?
Well, yes. I mean, the incident that occurred, I believe the planes took off from Minnow Air Force Base and landed at Barksdale, right? They go from North Dakota to Louisiana, if I remember correctly. I don't know anything about what happened to the pilots, and I don't really know what happened to the pilots in this incident in October '69 either. But I will say there are two overriding similarities. One is that when nuclear weapons are placed on aircraft, even with all the most elaborate safety procedures, strange things happen. One of the points I make in the Wired article, a point I make in my book in a different way and in the earlier article, is that strange things happened even in October 1969. The planes were too close to one another. Some of the weapons were put on in ways that were unsafe. Exactly what happened at Minnow and Barksdale Air Force Base in 2007, in August of 2007. The weapons were not handled properly. Luckily, in both October 69 and August 2007, we didn't have an accidental nuclear explosion, but safety was not properly maintained. In the case of October 2007, I think 36 hours the missiles were on the aircraft without being guarded properly. So you have all kinds of strange things that happen in these moments. Crisis situations are inherently dangerous, and I think we see that in both cases. The second lesson is that the urge is always immediately for the government to cover it up. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I believe that the urge of any organization, particularly the military, is when there is a mistake, when something dangerous happens, to minimize it. And we've seen that in both of these incidents. In August of 2007, they didn't want to talk about it. They wanted to pretend it wasn't very serious, even though, again, the missiles had been improperly loaded and were unguarded on aircraft. And in October 69, the entire incident is kept secret from the American people. They don't know that the president is maneuvering their nukes and threatening nuclear war in their name. So that the tendency towards covering up dangerous incidents is something we as a citizen body need to worry about, and I think we need a more effective media at pulling these issues out.
This, in most people's minds, could be considered perhaps an act of war. Now, it may be looked at as just a threat. Is there anything illegal about this, and is there anything illegal about an action as aggressive as this and not letting Congress in on it?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I do think there is something illegal about what happened in October '69. And I mentioned this briefly in the Wired article and have it again in more detail in my book in the earlier article. In 1968, there was, this is a year before the October '69 event that the Wired article describes, there was an American aircraft carrying 2 nukes on board that went down at Thule Air Force Base in Greenland. It crashed. And when it crashed, the Air Force was worried that the nukes would actually go off. They didn't. Radioactive material was spilled, and they had to go in and decontaminate part of Greenland. And the Dutch, who were then the colonial controllers of Greenland, were very upset about this. At that time, Congress had an agreement or had a commitment from the Secretary of Defense that the U.S. would no longer fly nukes on aircraft in that region as test flights. And then they went ahead and did that in October '69, which is why the Soviets knew this was something different. This wasn't just a test, because they knew the U.S. government had pledged not to do that again. And they did this in October of '69 without consulting Congress. Now, I'm told by legal experts that the 1968 decision was not a congressionally legislative binding decision. But at the very least, Congress assumed they weren't doing this, and then they went ahead and did this. That raises legal questions. It certainly raises accountability questions to me.
Where can people get the book?
Well, my book, Henry Kissinger and the American Centuries, should be at any local bookstore. It's available through Amazon and through Barnes & Noble, but I like when people support their local bookstores, so you should be able to find it there. And of course, Wired magazine is available everywhere, and the article's available, as you said, on the Wired website.
Professor Jeremy Suri, thank you so much for joining us in the International Newsnet.
Thank you for having me on.